Open house scripts that work. That's right. Today we're going to cover the door knocking before the open house, what I say when I door knock, and yes, I door knock. And number two, what you say at the open house. There's some things that we can do and say at the open house to maximize the results from your open. Hey everybody, Mike Ferrante here with LPT Realty and the Mike team. We're real estate agents serving essentially all of Ohio and pretty much the whole world, right? You know, if you have a real estate need anywhere in the world, I can hook you up. I might be exaggerating just a little bit. So like if you come to me and say Greenland or Iceland or Malaysia, I mean, maybe I can't get you there, but please, if you're in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, all the way down to Central Ohio, Columbus, Akron, Canton, Cleveland. We are your folks. As I like to say, we're your one-stop shop for buying and selling. And we do this Tuesday training every single week for agents. Although I got to tell you, most business owners would really benefit from the concepts that we teach and talk about here. Now, today we're getting really specific about open houses. And I know a lot of agents say, oh, Mike, open houses don't work. Well, I say hogwash. That's right. I say hogwash or hokum or something like that because I'm an old man trapped in a middle-aged man's body. But seriously, open houses done correctly can be really, really effective. And the problem is that most agents aren't doing them right. So the part we're not going to cover today is the promotion of the open house. Okay, you've got to get it out there, not just in the MLS and on Zillow and run your targeted ads. Yes, we run targeted ads. Put up your signs a day or two before the open house, and then, of course, day of, tons of signs and door knocking and what you say when people walk in the door. That's what we're going to cover today. And I've got teammate Ian Jones on. He's going to role play with me. So, Ian, I thought you were going to wear your French maid outfit. I don't see that.
Not this time.
Oh, that's a different kind of role play. Yes, yes. So Ian
Yeah.
Jones, he's from Rocky River, lifelong Northeast Ohioan. And if you've got needs in Rocky River, especially, or any of the surrounding suburbs, Ian has closed literally hundreds of transactions in his very short career. And he's your guy if you need help up here in Northeast Ohio. So, Ian, where shall we start? Let's talk about door knocking, I think, first. No?
Yeah, I think door knocking and getting set up for the open house, promoting the open house is the way to start.
Okay. Yep. So we're gonna talk about like literally what you say when you go door knocking. Now, by the way, I do have two things I'm going to show here real quick because if I'm going to take the time to uh, go to each door, I want to have something to leave there in case they're not home, right? So, you know, at our new company, we have these cool things that come printed for every listing. And notice this has got the little door hanger on it. Plus, our business cards actually have the actual property on it. So we carry a bunch of these and say, hey, here is my card, here's the house. And the reason that we do this is that we want to engage the neighbors. You know, they might know people looking to get in the neighborhood, but really, Ian, the true reason why we have open houses in addition to generating buyers is to find likely
Buyers
sellers, of
and
course. You
sellers.
know, I mean, sure, everyone thinks, oh, I do open houses to get buyer leads, but the reality is that if you leverage your open houses and your listings correctly, you should be getting more sellers. So yes,
Mhm.
I'm inviting the neighbors. It's kind of like when you have a party and you don't want the neighbors to call the police on you, you invite them. But seriously, like we're not only looking for them to help us sell the house, but we're looking for people who are likely to sell. So, Ian, I'm going to go ahead and do my quick role play here. I'll start with a knock knock, and it's just a real simple short script. And doorbell, knock knock, and take a step back. Okay, you don't want to crowd them at the door because people are already worried about opening their doors to strangers. So, knock knock, step back.
Mhm. Hi, can I help you?
Yeah, sure. My name's Mike Ferrante. I'm with LPT Realty, and we're actually having an open house today at your neighbor's house down the street, the Smiths. Here's a flyer I'd like to leave with you, and I was hoping maybe you could stop by and check out the house. Do you have time today between 1 and 3?
Maybe. I don't really I mean I'm not looking to buy a house. I already live here in the neighborhood.
Exactly. No, I know that. And in fact, people wonder, Mike, why are you knocking on the neighbor's doors? And it's because oftentimes you might know someone from work or a friend, family member who loves this neighborhood as much as you do and is looking to buy a home. So that's why I'd like to give you this flyer. And if you do think of anyone who's looking to get in the neighborhood, have them give me a call. Is that
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, my nephew is looking. He just got engaged, and I know him and his fiance are looking, but I don't know what their price range is or anything like that.
Sure. Well, it doesn't hurt to talk about it. And by the way, if you're just curious to see what they did with their house and why we're listing it at 350,000, you can take a stop down there and check it out today between 1 and 3.
Wow, they're listing it at 350,000. That's a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, values have risen in the area and homes like theirs that have been greatly improved are selling for top dollar. I'm just curious, when do you think you might be making a move?
Oh, I'm a few years away from retirement now, but I probably need to get into something smaller with less stairs in the next couple of years. The knees are not agreeing with me anymore.
Gotcha. Well, you seem shocked to hear that the values have risen to, like the 350 that we're listing the neighbor's house for. Would you be interested in having me take a look at your home just to give you a rough idea of what your current value is in this market?
It's something I would consider if you want to leave me your card, I can reach out to you.
Absolutely. Here's my info. You already have the flyer. By the way, if you'd like, I can shoot you an email with a rough valuation. Would you like to give me your best email?
Sure, I can give that to you.
So we'll wrap it up
Yeah.
there. Not everyone is going to be as receptive as Ian was right there. He did throw a couple of objections at me, which was great. Well, I'm not looking to move. That's something that you're going to get. And, the whole idea is to have a conversation, number one. And even if Ian said, well, no, I don't want you emailing me, what do I have now? I now have his address. And if nothing else, I can send him a little thank you note. I can stalk him. I can find his name, friend him on social media and maybe just do a follow up after that house is under contract, after it's sold. I meet him, I got his name. I say, hey, Ian, remember me? We sold the Joneses house. I used your name this time down the street, and guess what it sold for? Hand him more information and then follow up and try to get more contact info. So, Ian, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on that quick role play that we did.
Yeah, I will admit I was kind of an easy sell there. But I think it was the perfect amount of information without feeling too salesy. You were just kind of passing information out and saying, "Hey, I'm a resource and I want you to utilize me as a resource. Also, here's the information about what's going on in your neighborhood and how that directly affects you, the homeowner."
Yeah, I think mentioning the list price is important because some people are going to have that response. Values have gone up a lot in recent past. And guys, some people are going to not be so pleasant because they don't want their door knocked on. Just remember, you're not selling anything. Hey, this is a no soliciting neighborhood. I say, no problem. I'm not here to sell you anything. In fact, I'm here to invite you. And then I go into my spiel because who doesn't want to be invited to something? So even if it's a no soliciting neighborhood, even if there's a sign that says no soliciting, the answer is yes. I still knock on that door or ring that bell. Because again, I'm not there to sell anything. I'm literally there to just invite them to my party, my little open house that I'm having. And usually people warm up after that. Yes, there's the occasional person. We were door knocking with Jordan and I door knocked in Twinsburg. And somebody yelled at her and said, "Can't you read?" And so we just, went on to the next house because they had a no soliciting sign. And she said, "Hey, I'm not here to sell you anything. Just, I don't care. Get out of here." And so she left. Now, quick little side story during that round of door knocking, it was kind of interesting because I did the process leading up to the open house. I did a video the day before and I posted that video not only on social media, but also on YouTube. There was one door that I knocked on. The lady answered the door and I started to say my name and she stopped me mid-sentence and said, "I know who you are." And I was taken aback. I'm like, oh man, what did I do? Like, am I in trouble? And I said that. I said, "Oh, am I in trouble?" And she said, "Oh no, no, you're the guy who listed that house down the street." And I said, "Exactly. How did you know that?" And she said, "I saw your video." So it actually worked. It made an instant connection with her. And I also found out during that conversation that they're probably 3 to 5 years away from moving. So do you think she's in my database and that once or twice a year she's going to get something in the mail from me? And of course, anytime I door knock that neighborhood or do something in that neighborhood, she's on my list. So doing the process and having the guts to go door knock, it can have really good results. Ian, I don't know if you have a door knocking story to share. If not, we'll roll right into the open house script.
Um, nothing specifically about door knocking before an open house. I have a better story for door knocking after an open house, but maybe that's off topic of open houses in
Yeah, I
general.
mean, lay it on us real quick. I mean, door knocking after an open house is effective too because now you can share the results.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the idea is twofold. One, door knocking when the house sells, that's a different story for a different time. But door knocking after an open house, I can go through a neighborhood and I can say, "Hey, we just had an open house. It was really successful. I had 12 groups come through, probably 2 to 4 people per group. That's 30 people looking at houses. I can only sell it to one of them and it's going to sell quickly and they're interested in the neighborhood. Just so you know, if you're considering making a move, now might be the time to do it because I've already got a list of 25 people ready to buy in this neighborhood."
That's powerful. So there's no excuse. I don't want to hear, but Mike, we already had the open house and I didn't get a chance to door knock, or I only door knocked 10 or 20 houses. No excuse. Door knock after the open house and share the results of your open house. Door knock after the sale and share the story. Ian, we heard a good one at a Tom Ferry event. Tell everybody about the card after
Oh,
transfer.
this is my favorite. This is my favorite thing. I have a house right now that's under contract and I cannot wait for it to sell so that I can pull this out of my hat. Um, This is I can't take credit for this. This was an agent from a Tom Ferry event, and I wish I could remember her name to give her proper credit. But she said after a home sells, uh, and contingencies are removed, and we're a few days before closing, she goes through the neighborhood, she knocks on everybody's door, and she brings either a paper sign or a card that says "Welcome to the neighborhood, Mr. and Mrs. Homebuyer," right? And she goes to each and every neighbor and she says, "Hey, you're going to have some new neighbors here soon. I want to welcome them to the neighborhood because it's such an amazing place to live. And I want them to know that all of their neighbors are the greatest people that have ever existed. Would you be willing to sign a card welcoming them to the neighborhood?" And everybody says yes to that because no harm there, right? You're just putting your name on a card and, if, from the Joneses, welcome to the neighborhood, whatever, a little note. But that eventually turns into the conversation of, "Oh, I didn't realize that house was for sale. What did it sell for?" You know, all these questions come out of these conversations and eventually lead to hopefully more and more listings.
Yeah, it's just a
That I can.
conversation. And if you notice, my door knocking script ended with, when do you think you'll be making a move? So it's not, are you selling anytime soon? Because that's too easy to say no to. If I say, when do you think you might be making a move? That's a question that they have to put a little more thought into. And it might be, oh, not for a long time. It might be, oh, they're going to carry me out of here, which I've heard that many times. But what you're listening for is the, oh, 3 to 5 years, I'll be downsizing, or my last kid graduates from school at this point. So that's what you're listening for.
One more thing I wanted to add about that. I put up the sign the day before the house actively went on the market, and later that afternoon, I got a phone call from the lady across the street of that house, and she goes, "Hey, I saw the sign goes up is up. Is the house for sale already?" And I said, "Well, technically it'll hit the market tomorrow, but I was out here getting photographs and all that stuff." She goes, "Great, what's it listed for?" And I told her the price. And she goes, "Well, my daughter's looking to buy a house, her and her fiance, and I don't know if they want to live across the street from her mom, but I'm going to tell her about it." So shared that information with her and followed up with her after the open house and was like, "Hey, just so you know, we had a lot of interest. Is your daughter still interested in taking a tour, whatever, whatever?" And so that was a very quick connection made you know, with the neighbor across the street. Not that she was looking to sell, but that she had a buyer looking in that neighborhood.
Absolutely. And some of these extra things we do, the reaction that I get is, wow, I've never seen an agent do this. I've never seen an agent take all these steps. They remember it. You have a better chance now. You've just added to your sphere. You've added to the number of conversations that you've had. So let's shift gears, Ian. Now you're at the open house. Okay. I hate to say it this way, but most of you are doing it wrong. Most of the agents out there are conducting their open house scripts incorrectly. I walked into an open house a few years ago. We were thinking about moving. We didn't, but I walked in the door with my wife, and the agent was on the other side of the house. And from the other room, she was seated at the dining room table and said, "Oh, come on in, sign in when you get over here." And I could barely hear her, and I ignored her. I was doing an experiment. I wanted to see how she engaged with me, whether or not she got my contact information, whether or not she got anything from me. And the reality is I walked around that whole house and I walked out and she said something like, "Oh, come here and talk to me or come here and sign in." And I just ignored her and walked out. I feel kind of bad about doing that. And if she's listening to this session right now, she's probably like, "I remember you." But, people do that. So I'm sure I'm not the only one that ever did that. The point is there is a better way to do it. And I would argue a right way and a wrong way. So I have a list of questions, and some of them are going to sound dumb, but there's a method to the madness here. I don't lead with, "Welcome to my open house. Do you have an agent?" Okay, so I'm not saying, please don't misconstrue this. I'm not saying that we're not supposed to try to find out if people have agents. I'm just saying don't lead with that. The questions I'm going to ask Ian will get to the bottom of that. So if you're sitting there listening, going, "Well, Mike, you haven't asked one time if they have an agent yet," it's because I have a system here. And the reason for that is that if I open the door to, "Oh, do you have an agent?" in their heads, they're just here to see the house. If they say, "Yes, I do," if I tell him yes, he'll leave me alone. I don't want that. Okay. Many buyers haven't signed with anyone yet. They may know an agent, they may have one or more agents in mind, but they haven't signed yet. So, really, our duty is to find out if they've signed a buyer's agreement. So let's conduct our little open house script here. Note that I'm going to be quick about this because Ian's here to see the house. He's not here to be interrogated by me. So I'm going to purposely try to keep this a little short. And I'm going to open with one of two questions. I'm going to give you my openers and then we'll start. Someone comes in. I say either A, "Hi, are you here for the open house?" Which is kind of funny because why else would they be walking in the door? And some people actually hassle me and say, "Oh no, I'm here for the bake sale or the garage, is this not where the circus is or whatever?" And I let them have their fun with me. But it's a good, easy, ice-breaking question. It assures them that they're supposed to be walking in the door. Or the other really great question I've heard, Ian, is, "Hey, welcome to my open house. Where are you coming from today?" Now, the reason that question works so well is that you instantly learn something about that buyer. Are they just here from Chicago for the weekend because they have to buy a house this weekend? Are they oh, I live down the street. I'm just a nosy neighbor. Okay. I've learned a lot about them by asking that opening question. I drove 3 hours to come look at this house specifically from such and such a city. So really, really great questions to open with. So come on and enter, walk in my door, Ian.
All right. It's a big door creak.
I love it when we get into role play. "Hey, welcome to my open house. Where are you coming from today?"
Oh, hi. I'm coming from church this morning. We were just driving home. We saw the sign.
Oh yeah, I put up a lot of signs. My name's Mike and I'm the listing agent. I'll tell you what, before we get started, let me sign you in. And I'm going to grab my pad and I'm going to interrupt the role play here for a second, Ian. I'm going to grab my pad. It's not a sheet that's laying on the table. It's not me from across the room. I'm greeting the person at the door and I say, "Great, let me get your name." I'm putting my head down so you can see my thinning top here. "Let me get your name."
Well, my name's Ian, but we're just kind of looking around today. Just saw the signs. We just decided to stop by.
No problem, Ian. So your name's Ian. Um, I promised the seller I'd keep track of everyone who came in their home today. So if you don't mind, can I get either a phone number or an email address?
Sure, I'll give you my email.
Great. And I write down the
But you're not going to
email.
send me a bunch of spam, are you?
Oh, absolutely not. Like I said, just keeping track of who came in today. By the way, if you have questions, I'll be able to send them to you by email. Ian, if you don't mind, I promise I'm not going to bug you, but if you don't mind, I would love to put your last name here as well.
Yeah, it's Jones.
Great. And you've given me your email. You sure you don't want me just to jot down your phone number real quick?
Um, I guess you could take it if you want to. If you need anything, I can always text you or call you, and that way you know.
So I'll interrupt here again. Guys, it's harder for you to say no to me if I'm getting ready to write down your info. Most people are going to give you something, a first name, one or the other, and just take what you can get. Okay. Now, some of you, if your policy is, hey, I need a photo of your ID, then do that. I like the sign-in sheet method because it's more casual, checking IDs at the door. I'm not saying it's wrong. To me, it feels a little bit much like, checking IDs as you're walking in the club. So
Hmm.
I'm not saying it's wrong. And if you feel it's better for your safety, get the copies of the IDs. Hey, I'm taking photographs of everyone's IDs as they come in today. I've got have my camera ready. Let me get a snapshot of your ID. I don't know how you feel about that, Ian, but that's what I think the options are.
IDs, that I don't know if that's a rule in other states, but that to me feels like it might be a little over the top. The way I like to look at it is we are so, as humans, we are so we will easily give our information, our email address or our phone number and our names to a restaurant for a reservation. They don't bombard us with text messages after the fact. Some do. I will admit, I get some feedback requests and stuff like that when I make a reservation. But for the most part, it's to keep track of people and to follow up with a quick text or email at the end saying, thanks for coming to the open house. Really enjoyed meeting you. Of course, I'm available if you have any questions. And that's it.
That's it. Yep. So when you ask, you can assure people, hey, I'm not going to spam you, not going to bother you. This is just my process in case you have any questions. And then if they object again, I went right to my backup objection handler, which was, hey, I promised the seller. And most people don't want to have you break a promise. So great. I've got you signed in. Now, the next things I'm going to do is I'm going to ask some really quick questions here to figure out if you're working with an agent and what your motivation level is. First, I want to know what's working, though. How did you hear about it? Now, Ian already answered that question because that opening question is so effective. He heard about it from the signs. Now, that tells me he's not on Zillow. Maybe he's not a serious buyer. Maybe he's just a neighbor. So I might ask him something like, are you searching for a home? The real question that I have on my list is how long have you been searching? But because he saw the signs, I'll probably alter that question to say, so Ian, are you searching for a home or are you just stopping by to take a look?
Yeah, we've been in the market for a couple of months now. We're looking for something pretty specific, so we've seen maybe three houses in
Oh,
those
got
four
it.
months.
Apart from open houses, how else are you looking?
Right now, we contacted the listing agent on one property, and I think the other two or three houses have been just open houses when they pop up.
Got it. So it sounds like you're not yet working with an agent to help you buy.
Correct. We're just
Got
kind of looking because we're looking for something specific, and I don't want to waste anybody's time, if it's not the right house for us.
Got it. So, Ian, we get a lot of listings. If I found something before it hit the market, would that be something that would interest you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're ready to make a move. We don't have a timeline, but we're ready to be in a different space.
Got it. So I have an idea. Why don't you take a look at the house and on your way out, I'll jot down all those specific things you're looking for in case I do see something, especially something that has not yet hit the market. And then I can get in touch with you to let you know about it. By the way, one last thing before you check the house out. Do you have a home to sell first?
We do. We have a house just up the road, a couple blocks away, couple miles away. That we own it right now, and obviously don't want to have two houses, so we'll sell it when we find the
Wonderful.
right one.
I'd love to hear more about that, and we can talk about how to buy a home when you have one to sell. And then I'm going to shut up, let them look at the house, and get some more information on the way out. But guys, the questions I asked specifically are to uncover these facts. And notice the home run question at the end is about, do you have a house to sell? I'm here to tell you at least 95% of agents don't ask that question at their open houses. And when I tell them you can get more listings by having open houses, they have no idea what I'm talking about, right, Ian?
Exactly. And you mentioned it exactly. That was the home run question of, do you have to sell a house? And I personally like that you go, great, well, let's talk about listing your house for sale. Because a couple of things with that scenario, you know that they're just kind of window shopping a little bit right now. They're not super serious. They'll list their house when the time comes. But two, you provided them with information, or like the opportunity for information, I'll say, where you said, well, let's have a conversation about how to buy a house when you have a home to sell. Not, hey, this is what we need to do to get you to buy a house and then sell your house and use me as both agents. It is a tricky process to list and sell a house at the same time. Let's have a conversation about how we can do that.
Yeah, and there's two questions. That one is the one that I felt was more appropriate because you had a house to sell. The other one that we use on our team all the time is, has anyone taken the time to do a buyer consultation with you? And that
Hmm.
opens up the opportunity to set a buyer appointment. Okay, because most people's reaction, Ian, and you know this as well as I do, it's that, well, what's a buyer consultation? Sure, I talked with an agent and told them what I'm looking for. Oh, that's it? That's a small part of the buyer consultation. Did you address these other things? Did you address financing and when the three different times you may have to bring money to a transaction, the different inspections that you might have, the nuances of buying in this city? You know, we know here in the greater Cleveland area, we have point of sale cities. Are you familiar with point of sales? Are you familiar with the different types of inspections? So, asking those questions, creating that doubt and saying, gosh, maybe I don't know everything about this process. And this fella or gal is talking about educating me. And so, Ian, I'm so glad you picked up on that about the education process. We're not here to
Hmm.
close a sale. We're here to have a conversation and set an appointment. Every conversation, the goal is set an appointment. So thank you for being a good role play partner with me today, Ian. I know you're a pro at this as well. So any final thoughts before we wrap up today?
I think overall, open houses are some of the most powerful we'll say recruiting tools for lead generation for agents. I know Tom Ferry says each listing should have triplicates, where when you
Right.
have a listing, you should be able to pick up two buyers and a new listing, leveraging that listing. So even if it's not your own listing, if you're offering to do an open house for a teammate, another member of your brokerage, another agent just in your state or in your area, you can utilize those open houses to re-engage clients and potentially, generate some more business and some more leads. I think they're
That's
extremely
right.
powerful.
Our teammate Jordan started out just asking agents in her area that weren't even with the same brokerage, hey, do you mind if I hold your listing open? And she got yeses. So, real quick here, go to 21mike.com, click the button to schedule an appointment with me or someone on the team. If you're watching this on YouTube, smash the subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook, 21 Mike Team. Yeah, it still says 21 on Facebook. But you can go to Facebook and find us there, see what events we have coming up. The next 3 Tuesdays, it's going to be all about Chat GPT for real estate agents. Next week, basic. Week after, intermediate. And then week 3, we're going to go for it. We're going to do some advanced stuff for Chat GPT. And Ian, yeah, right. I know. I love it. So we're
I'm
going to be
excited.
cooking. Watch us cook next 3 weeks, all about Chat GPT. Ian, thank you so much for doing this with me today. Ian, go ahead and drop your contact info real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. Ian Jones, LPT Realty. I'm in the Rocky River area, west side of Cleveland. You can reach out to me via text, email. It's realtor.ianjones@gmail or 216-978-6484 as the phone number.
Awesome. High five. Thanks, everybody.
Good job.